Finding Bigfoot is back. Finding Bigfoot premiered on Sunday on, of all things, the Animal Planet. Wait a minute, animal? It's not even an animal, is it?
I mean, if it were to exist, it would be.
What planet does it live on?
That part I'm not so sure on. I mean, it doesn't specify which planet, the channel.
Well, I think they're looking on Earth, though. We have our guest, Matt Moneymaker. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Matt, you're a Bigfoot hunter, I guess, or search. What do you call yourself?
Well, I think most people would call me a Bigfoot researcher. Not really a Bigfoot hunter, because that would imply that we're trying to kill one, and we're not.
Well, you're trying to find one is what I think it would imply, right? Are you trying to find one, or just you looking for...
Well, we found them many times. I've actually gotten video of them like 3 different times.
No, I've seen those videos. None of them leave you thinking, oh, that's definitely a freaking Bigfoot. It's always like some kind of shadowy shape. I'm not saying yours, Matt, but I'm saying all of these online, none of them are clearly what they're said to be. Right?
I don't think you've seen them all. There's actually some that are pretty compelling if you look at them like more closely.
Where would I go to see these? Because I love this stuff. I love the idea that there's some kind of giant biped crashing around out in the forest. It's been out there for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Nobody's ever seen it. But like which one? Like that? You know what the best one ever is? That Patterson-Gimlin film from like 1967. That's the most realistic one I've ever seen.
Well, that's still probably the clearest daylight footage.
Because it was a guy in a costume. That's why it was so clear and in daylight.
What makes you think that? What makes you so sure it was a guy in a costume?
Because these two guys, Gimlin and Patterson, were out there. They were being paid by a film company to go out and shoot some footage of Bigfoot. And what do you know?
They weren't.
Yes,
you got that all wrong.
Do I? Is Ranae Holland there?
I'm here live from planet Earth.
Okay, thank you. Ranae, it says that you're a biologist and a wildlife scientist. Is anything I'm saying off the mark so far?
I do think so. I think you're coming across a little bit what they would call on the cynical side, whereas I'm a skeptic. And I think there is a lot of compelling evidence out there, and that's the reason why I'm out there doing this. I mean, what are these people saying? I understand where you guys are coming from. We actually did a recreation, went to the location where the Patterson-Gimlin film was, recorded. And I will say this, there are a lot of people who say you can't prove it's not a Bigfoot. You also can't prove it is a Bigfoot. So I'm not going to go there and kick up that argument.
Okay,
but I got to see, as a research scientist and with a background in biology, there is a lot of things out there that, you can't explain. You weren't there when the witness had their encounter, but what are all these people saying?
Okay, but as scientists, and especially as a biologist, you know what the concept of a breeding population is, right?
It's a carrying capacity of K.
Right, and for a large primate like that, a breeding population would have, you couldn't have 3 or 4 out there. There'd have to be hundreds.
Not, and I think that's a big misconception. People think Bigfoot is a singular animal. I mean, the folks who are in the camp and the community who believe that Bigfoot is a biological undiscovered species, they believe that, you have different types of populations. I think you could make it analogous to, say, brown bears. Brown bears in Alaska have a very constant protein food source out of salmon. Those animals get very large. The reports of Sasquatches out of the Pacific Northwest are very large, whereas reports of Sasquatches, say, through, Middle America are thinner and leaner like a grizzly bear would be.
Okay, the difference between a brown bear and a Sasquatch is we see we know what they are. People take photographs. There's no there's no question as to what it is. Oh, look, it's a brown bear. Obviously, that's what it is. You're telling me that in the time since the Patterson-Gimlin film, where they had like an 8 whatever it was, 50 millimeter handheld camera, to 2016 now, where everybody's got a camera in their pocket that's of much higher quality, we're still not getting any pictures better than what we got in 1967 with Patterson-Gimlin? By the way, Patterson-Gimlin is the one where the Bigfoot's walking, he looks back over his shoulder, and it's, it looks really good. I don't know if they had some kind of like Hollywood special effects guy help them do it or what, but it's, to me...
No, they didn't. That's a real Sasquatch, believe it or not.
There's no real Sasquatch.
A real animal. That's exactly what they look like. That thing was 6'8" and probably weighed 1,000 pounds.
Okay, Matt, I know I came across immediately like dismissive of what you do and stuff, but let me say, you guys go out. I've seen these shows. I don't know how there's more than one show about finding Bigfoot, but because every time I look at it, it's like, oh, it's guys hollering off into the woods. You guys, get in touch with nature. You're out there getting some good exercise and stuff. So it's not like I completely negative about what you do, but you're never going to find a Bigfoot.
We found them dozens of times, even during the course of the show. If you watch the show, we've gotten recordings of them many times.
You've got recordings of something howling.
We got recordings of them. We've had them fairly close to us at night. It's hard to get them on film. But, yeah, we found them many times during the show. And I'll tell you, just the title of the show, Finding Bigfoot, the show was about witnesses and their stories. And, I don't agree with it finding because it sets up this expectation that we're going to walk up and one's going to be standing there and we're going to say, aha, we found you. You get close to these things and they run away. You can get them to approach you at night and you'll hear them. Sometimes you'll get thermal video.
Yeah, that describes every wild animal known to man. Yeah, if you approach them, they run away. Of course they do. We still know what a tiger is. Or a lion.
Right, and you don't, quote, find those things unless you're killing one, or it's a dumb animal that doesn't mind, if you see it and it's at a distance, it doesn't run away.
I'm really interested
that animals that will, if they think you're looking in their direction, if they can see you, they'll turn around and jam. So people only see them for a few seconds before they run off, just like you see in the Patterson footage.
Yeah, Buzz, we're in this day and age of we have small populations of species that have been identified and separated from other known species. Say you're talking about very small primates somewhere in Central America or something like that, where you do not have a holotype where you can physically put your hands on it. But primatologists and biologists were able to say, look, we've captured a photo of this animal. We don't need to go and kill the last one.
You can go and find a new, previously undiscovered species of snail, but it's a big difference between a 7-foot primate that's apparently been tromping around the woods.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times people will say, well, we're finding new species all the day. The majority of those are bacteria and basically plant life. I agree with you. There are very few biological species that are over what you would say much more than a deer or an antelope. That is statistically rare.
Ranae Holland, who is a field biologist, you don't, tell me and just level with me, you don't believe that there are animals called Sasquatches that are out anywhere in the world, do you?
I do not believe Bigfoot is a biological undiscovered species. I do believe people are seeing something.
Right, of course. Okay, there we go. But
I do believe that there is something out there that cannot be explained. What that is, as a scientist, I don't know. But I myself personally do not believe that Bigfoot's a biological undiscovered species. However, there are a lot of people out there that very do. Cliff, Bobo, Matt, they all very much believe that, and they have their opinions and what has brought them to it, and it's just as valid as mine.
So I've had one standing right in front of me, Buzz. I've had one 15, 20 feet away.
Well, right now?
They are quite real. No, they're not very real. Buzz, if you want to know whether they're real, you're in El Paso, right?
I am currently in El Paso.
You could go up to the Mescalero Apache Reservation, not too far north of you, Sierra Blanca, up in that area. Go to the Carrizo neighborhood, talk to some of the people up there who've had them come up and look in their windows. Talk to the tribal heads up there and the tribal police. Tell them I sent you. They'll tell you all about how these things will walk right through the middle of that town of Mescalero at times. They'll kill elk up there. They're for real. You go up there, you talk to some of those people, I guarantee you will believe they exist. I've had them walk right by my tent, right up there. And I fly into El Paso whenever I go into that area. So, yeah, you're not terribly far away if you want to make that drive and find out for yourself.
Okay.
Now, Matt, I know this season you guys are focused in, I think, Maine, New Hampshire, Georgia, and Oregon. But where would you say, I'm sure you talk to Bigfoot hunters across the country, where do you hear the most reports? It seems like there's a lot of reports of Bigfoot sightings out of Texas. Is that true, or where are they
Texas,
mostly?
Yeah, Sabine River area, places that it's East Texas. There's river basins, Sabine, Trinity River, Red River, those river basins, very swampy over there. Probably the single best area in East Texas is the Big Thicket National Preserve. The Chickasaw Reservation is right next to that. Again, another reservation that just happens to be in an area where there's a lot of wildlife, coincidentally. That's why the Indians, stayed in that area. And that wildlife supports a lot of different animals, and people see Bigfoots in there all the time, and we talk to many witnesses right around there. So,
I know for a fact you didn't find a Bigfoot this season, though. You know how I know that?
Why is that?
If you found a big, like, irreferable...
Well, what do you mean find one? And in fact, you're wrong about that. We did in Maine, definitely. I had
No. You found, like, a footprint that could have been, like, part of melted bear footprint or something.
All the episodes, huh?
No, I haven't seen them, but I'm going to tell you that if you'd have found compelling and then made it peer-reviewed evidence...
You mean a piece of what? You mean find a bone or something?
It's something that would make any mainstream scientist agree that, oh my God, there's Bigfoot out there. It would already be the biggest science story of the decade, and we'd already all know about it.
Well, I'll tell you, Buzz, I'm not trying to kill one, and that's exactly what the scientists would want. If a scientist wants to come with me, I'll make a believer out of anyone, including you.
Really, I'll go out there with you. I guarantee you, we won't see Sasquatch. We won't see Squatch. That's what we'll see.
You'll be crying before you go home.
Because
I want you to go now. I want to see this video.
Hey, man, I love
crying.
it. Nothing would please me more than to find out there's some kind of giant undiscovered monkey man out there.
Buzz,
Oh, that's the best.
Next time I'm down
Jesus,
through
real
Texas,
fast.
there, Buzz, maybe we'll get in touch with you.
Get in touch with me.
Take you on an expedition with the Apache.
Well, they don't want two skeptics out there. We'd ruin their trip, right?
Well,
I assume, Renee, your job on the entire show is to go, no, that's a bear. No, that's inconclusive. No, that doesn't mean, right?
No matter what.
It's that's everybody's job. Everybody should come in there, objective as possible, and just basically rule out all of the possibilities. And I'll tell you what, Buzz, having spent the last 5 years of my life out in the woods in the dark, there are experiences where I've ruled everything out. I can't say what it is. I also can't say what it is.
Okay, but doing this for 5 years, there's never been anything where you say, the best guess is that this is an 8-foot tall biped that's a primate.
There have been experiences where I'm like, I don't know exactly what that was. I don't know.
Yeah, so it could have been anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's trying to tell you something you're not reading between the lines, Bud.
She's trying to say you saw a Sasquatch. Well, why wouldn't you come out and say that?
What do you think her role in the show is, Bud?
Well, wait, let's just stop here for a second.
To give it some phony
You guys,
scientific
it's not a
gravitas, I
role.
guess.
I don't believe it's a biological undiscovered species. I personally have a different belief system. I believe, in a higher power. I believe in a spiritual sense. Maybe people are experiencing something like that. You don't know.
You think Sasquatch is God?
I don't know. What I can say is I do not see the evidence that it's a biological undiscovered species.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going out and trying to collect evidence on myself, and I'm basically encountering witnesses and trying to really discover for myself, which is what I think a lot of our viewers can do. They can sit here, they can sit on their couch, they can tune into Finding Bigfoot, they can see these reports, watch us follow up, and then they can basically interact. And I say get outdoors and discover for yourself.
We have to wrap. Thank you so much.
All right. If you come through here, I'm going looking for Bigfoots with you, okay?
Talk to the chief of police on Mescalero, and they'll make a believer.
I'll talk to the chief of police, but you guys take me squatching with you, all right?
All right, Buzz.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye. All right.